What shall we talk about, gentlemen?
Hey everybody, this is Isaac. Today I have another special guest, my friend Jonan.
Hi.
And he is the Star Wars know-it-all.
So, we're gonna go through the episodes, or I haven't seen the solo episode, but I'm sure I will eventually. So we're just gonna go through the episodes and go over brief details of each. First, we have episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Now, the storyline of this is basically starts out with the planet of Naboo is surrounded by a fleet of Trade Federation ships that are basically trying to prevent communications and other foreign ships from getting in and out in order to have control of Naboo. And this is involved in a political thing that's going on in the Galactic Senate. And so,
Political stuff, blah 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 blah.
yeah,
Oh.
yeah, what he said. So, 2 Jedi sent from the Republic to negotiate peace terms with the Trade Federation. But as they are negotiating, they are sabotaged, and although they escape to the planet Naboo on the surface. And so one of the Jedi was Qui-Gon and his apprentice Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Whom I do not have.
And so they find this Jar Jar Binks fellow who is able to get them.
Okay, show them your Jar Jar Binks voice.
Okay. I can't really do it that well, but these are Jar Jar Binks. I hear a lot of people do not like Jar Jar Binks stuff, so
I love Jar Jar Binks.
okay, well there's some But anyway, so Jar Jar Binks is able to get them through the planet core into the city, the main city in Naboo, the capital, and there they are able to rescue the Queen and her servants and other important people to Naboo, and they are able to escape in a spaceship past the blockade, but they take some damage due to laser fire on their way out, and so they have to stop at Tatooine along the way to get the hyperdrive fixed because it was leaking. But they land on Tatooine. They go to a small space part dealer, and he has a slave, Anakin Skywalker. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if you have a minifigure for him.
No.
Okay. So, anyway, he becomes an important part. Because they're unable to acquire the parts they need from Watto because they do not. Watto is the dealer. Because they don't. They have Republic credits, but not the local Tatooine currency. And so what happens is that they get caught in a sandstorm on their way back to the ship, and Anakin decides to take them to his house to stay until it passes. And while they're eating supper over the table or something like that, he tells them that he races a pod racer, and he's the only human who can do that. And Qui-Gon recognizes that as a Jedi trait because it's very hard to navigate a pod racer. You have to have very quick reflexes. And so, then Qui-Gon figures out a way that he can get the local currency that he needs to be able to pay for a new hyperdrive for the ship. And that is to enter Anakin with a pod racer that Anakin built into a race, the Bonta Eve, I think it's how you pronounce it. And so basically, there's a series of bets that go on. Anakin eventually does win the race. They get the money they need. They fix the ship. They bring. In one of the bets, freed Anakin Skywalker, so they were able to bring Anakin back to the Jedi temple on Coruscant, as well as I'm getting ahead of myself. So they got on the ship, they got out Tatooine into hyperspace, came out of hyperspace, got Coruscant, and so then they take Anakin to the Jedi Temple and the royalty to the Senate to plead their case. And so what happens is that, if I remember correctly, the Republic isn't able to navigate around this obstacle because there's some corruption going on within their midst, and part of this, the corruption thing makes it so that they vote out the old Chancellor Valorum, and they look for a new candidate for the position of Chancellor, and eventually, Emperor, at the end of the movie, Senator Palpatine becomes the Chancellor. And as for the Jedi Temple, they test Anakin in front of the Jedi Council, and let me see. But he passes the test, but Yoda and some other Jedi think that he's too old to be trained. However, Qui-Gon does not believe this, and so going back to the Senate, since because of the corruption, nothing is able to be done about Naboo. So the Queen of Naboo decides to go back, which the Senator Palpatine thinks she's crazy, but that's what she decides to do. And so she brings Anakin, Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, and the rest of the crew of royalty and whatever with her. And so they get through the blockade, because obviously the blockade wants them back. And so they land on Naboo. They decide, Jar Jar Binks decides that he can probably get help from the other Gungans. So they go over to the lake where the Gungan city's underneath. When Jar Jar swims down and finds out that they're there, he comes back up and tells the Jedi that they're not there. And so then they figured out, well, the battle droids probably chased them out or something like that. So they're probably in this special sacred place somewhere else. So Jar Jar takes them there. Sure enough, there's a whole Gungan population there above water in this place. And so they're able to acquire the Gungans' help. And let me see. So then they're able to launch an attack against the Federation in the capital. And it's complicated. They have the mysterious Darth Sidious has sent his Padawan Darth Maul to Naboo to assist the Trade Federation, and this kicks off a battle between Darth Maul and Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon during the battle that is going on in the capital, where the Queen and her royalty is trying to capture the Viceroy, and the other battle that's happening on the plains where the Gungans are distracting the main body of the droid army. And so the result of the battle is that after, oh yes, and there's another part. So they just before the battle between the Jedi and the Sith, that they're able to capture the hangar. And so the Naboo pilots get into ships and they head out to the blockade to destroy the central, the droid control ship. And so at the end of that space battle, they blow it up. That makes the droids immobile. So then the Gungan army has won the battle because they don't have any opposition. And that leaves only the droids in the capital still functioning. And so the battle progresses in the palace, the Theed Palace, and this is the capital, Theed the palace. And so, while the Jedi and Darth Maul battle in the basically a power plant that is adjacent to the palace, the outcome of that battle is that Qui-Gon gets killed, but then Obi-Wan is able to get Darth Maul back, if you know what I mean. And so slices them in half, and Darth Maul falls down a really, really long hole.
But not really.
Yeah, he comes back from the Clone Wars.
But we're not gonna do the Clone Wars.
Yes. Yeah. So, and then the result of the palace battle is, you guessed it, they captured the Viceroy. And so that at the end of the episode, there's this big victory celebration. Anakin does eventually get accepted into training under Obi-Wan's leadership, I think that's the best term for it. And so, yeah, and at that point, Senator Palpatine becomes Chancellor Palpatine. And, by the way, Chancellor Palpatine is Darth Sidious. And so you're going to see the outcome of that. Pretend you don't know that for the next episode 2. And episode 3, you're supposed to really find out. So, I guess that finishes episode 1.
Okay, that was a lot of information, and we will make episode 2, and you'll be able to see that. So, bye.
So, Joshua, what do you use for phonics?
I use Barton. It's a reading and spelling system. An Orton Gilligram influenced simultaneously multi-sensory explicit and systematic phonics program.